Hey guys, welcome back to the MMA India show. This is your host Praveen Devas, and with us is Abhishek बोले Brown बोले Abhishek अभी तो सच्चाई बाहर निकल गई and Abhishek Singh from the MMA India show, and we are just back from Abu Dhabi from UFC 294. Uh, 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 Great time overall, but unfortunately we had gone for Anshul Jubli and his first fight, proper fight on the UFC card, and the second UFC fighter to ever fight in the UFC after Bharat Khandare. And unfortunately, he couldn't win, but he gave a good account of himself, a really great account of himself. And we'll get to that a little later, है ना? पहले बात करते हैं, मेरे ख्याल से पहले बात करते हैं कुछ मेन फाइट्स के बारे में. एक तो उनका प्रोडक्शन क्वालिटी जो है यूएफसी का हमेशा वर्ल्ड क्लास टॉप नॉच होता ही है, वो तो हमको मालूम ही है. अभी ये आपका दूसरा यूएफसी था फाइट, मेरा तीसरा था. लास्ट ईयर भी जब हम सिंगापुर गए थे तो प्रोडक्शन क्वालिटी बहुत ही अमेजिंग था, सेम था.
कॉम्बैट स्पोर्ट्स में आई डोंट थिंक यूएफसी को कोई मैच करता है. देयर वाज एचबीओ वंस, बट आफ्टर एचबीओ बकल्ड अप, आई थिंक यूएफसी इज टॉप नॉच राइट नाउ.
हाँ, और उनका जो टेम्पलेट है वो सेम रहता है, ऐसा नहीं है कि वो अलग अलग जगह पे अलग करते हैं. जो उनके पीवीबी कार्ड्स है उसका प्रोडक्शन अलग होता है. ऑफकोर्स जो एपेक्स सेंटर में करते हैं वो ऑलरेडी उनका फिक्स्ड है, तो वो दैट्स द सेम. पर उनके पीवीबी कार्ड्स में जो बड़े स्टेडियम्स हैं उनका टेम्पलेट सेम है. इट्स अ विनिंग टेम्पलेट, इट्स अमेजिंग शो. And the entry, of course, for the media, MMA India show, MMAindia.com is credentialed media with the UFC, so the entry was very quick and great facilities for the media. Abhishek, आप बताना चाहोगे कि आपका एक्सपीरियंस कैसे रहा?
The experience was great, although अच्छा लगता अगर अंशुल जीतता, but nonetheless it was a great experience. The UFC PR was very kind to us. हमको हमेशा सबसे आगे वाली सीट ही मिली अभी तक. इवन ड्यूरिंग द पोस्ट फाइट प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस एंड प्री फाइट प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस हमारे लिए एक सेक्शन रहता है, क्योंकि हम इंडिया से, हम ही यूजुअली MMA इंडिया इज द ओनली मीडिया दैट्स गेट इनवाइटेड टू दिस प्लेसेस. जो क्रेडेंशियल्स जो मीडिया है MMA इंडिया के लिए टेरिफिक था वहाँ पे. We got to ask a lot of questions. In fact, Dana White से भी इंटरेक्शन हुआ.
हाँ, मैं वो पूछने वाला था, आपको इसके बाद पूछूंगा उसके बारे में, लेकिन हाँ. So how was that feeling? तो चलो अभी बात कर लेते हैं. How was that feeling कि डेना वाइट से आप कुछ पूछ पाए directly?
It was a great feeling, knowing that he's one of the guys that made UFC into what it is, and getting a chance to interact with him, and him responding so politely.
मेरे ख्याल से जो डेना वाइट ने बात की वो इंडिया के बारे में ज्यादा बात नहीं करना चाहते थे. ऑफ कोर्स अगर अंशुल जीतता तो थोड़ा सा इन डेप्थ कॉन्वर्सेशन होता. मेरे ख्याल से वो भी थोड़े से निराश ही लग रहे थे, बट होता है, एक जीतते हैं एक हारते हैं, दैट इज द कॉम्बैट गेम. एंड लेकिन उन्होंने फिर जो टॉपिक है वो पावर स्लैप पे बदल दिया. जो कि काफी उन्हीं का वो है प्रमोशन, थप्पड़ मारने का. और अमेरिका में अच्छा चल रहा है. और ऑफ कोर्स हमारे यहाँ पे एक, मेरे ख्याल से एक वो बोल रहे थे कि इंडिया में काफी चल रहा है. मैं सरप्राइज नहीं हूँ इस बात को लेके कि वो यहाँ पे इंडिया में अच्छा चल रहा है, क्योंकि थप्पड़ मारने का एक वो देखने का मेरे ख्याल से एक हो सकता है इधर शौक हो. और सुनने में ये है कि वो जो पावर स्लैप है वो सोनी को बेचने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं, लेकिन अभी तक सोनी ने हाँ नहीं किया. मुझे जो लगता है हाँ नहीं करेंगे, मुझे जो लगता है. ये ऑफ कोर्स ये हमारा कोई कंफर्म सोर्स नहीं है इसके बारे में, लेकिन आपको किसी ने बताया ये वहां पे एक अननेम्ड सोर्स के बारे में बात करेंगे.
We don't know how true it is, but
हाँ, बट ये बताया गया था, ये क्रेडिबल सोर्स से.
एक्चुअली काफी लोग कमेंट में भी पूछ रहे थे कि पावर स्लैप इंडिया में तो कहीं आता नहीं है, तो हाउ डज डेना वाइट हैव दिस मैट्रिक. तो मैं ये बोलना चाहूंगा कि पावर स्लैप के ऑफिशियल फेसबुक पेज पे इट्स ऑलवेज लाइव वर्ल्ड वाइड, सो दैट्स हाउ दे ट्रैक दैट मैट्रिक. तो जो 260 मिलियन व्यूअरशिप फिगर है, दैट इज ट्रू, बिकॉज अगर आप फेसबुक पेज 260 मिलियन
260 million.
That's what Dana White said last.
260 million क्या है वो मैट्रिक?
Views from India.
अच्छा, from India.
From India.
अच्छा, बट कब से कब तक?
I think जब से स्टार्ट हुआ है, मेरे ख्याल से एक साल ऑलमोस्ट होने को है.
तो प्रो पंजा से थोड़ा कम है बस.
थोड़ा कम है, हाँ.
Okay.
But again, it's वंडरफुल नंबर्स टू हैव। तो पीपल आर कंफ्यूजन, मैं वही दूर करना चाहता हूँ कि वो ट्रैक अपने सोशल मीडिया मैट्रिक से करें। अगर आप एक फेसबुक पेज चलाते हैं, इट्स वेरी इजी टू गो एंड सी द ज्योग्राफिकल लोकेशन कि कहाँ से कितने व्यूज आ रहे हैं। दैट्स हाउ डिना वाइट नोज दैट पावर स्लैप इज बिग इन इंडिया।
हाँ, और मैं हैरान नहीं हूँ, जैसे मैं बता रहा था यहाँ पे चल सकता है वो काफी, और काफी लोग देखते हैं उसके बारे में। यहाँ पे वो प्रमोशन हो सकता है या नहीं मुझे नहीं लगता। मेरे ख्याल से उसमें अगर यहाँ पे एक्चुअली वो थप्पड़ का करोगे, कई लोगों ने हमसे भी बात की है यार ये स्लैब वाला चैंपियनशिप स्टार्ट करना चाहिए, लेकिन मुझे नहीं लगता वो स्टार्ट कर सकते हैं। जैसे आप स्टार्ट करोगे मेरे ख्याल से 10 केस आपके ऊपर लग जाएंगे। ये उसका जो बेसिक जो थॉट है कि दूसरा बंदा बेहोश हो जाएगा, मेरे ख्याल से यहाँ पे लीगली वो हो सकता है ना चले, लेकिन एज अ प्रमोशन वो जरूर देखने के लिए यहाँ पे चल सकता है। जैसे हमने बताया सोशल मीडिया पे तो चल ही रहा है, तो उन्होंने वो उसके बारे में ज्यादा नहीं बात किया। उन्होंने मीडिया कॉन्फ्रेंस में इसके बारे में बात किया था। किसी ने उनसे पूछा था कि आपके इंडिया प्लान्स क्या है, तो उधर उन्होंने बोला था कि हम इंडिया आना चाहते हैं, लेकिन अभी कैसे आएंगे क्या करेंगे कुछ पक्का नहीं है, लेकिन काफी टाइम से हम आना चाह रहे हैं। और मेरे ख्याल से उनका सबसे बड़ा हर्डल ये है कि अभी 2 ऑफ कोर्स मैच हुए इंडियंस को लेके, अभी तक दोनों जीते नहीं है, तो आई थिंक दैट इज ऑलवेज पुट देयर प्लान्स ऑन अ बैक बर्नर लिटिल, बिकॉज एनी यूएफसी एंटरिंग इनटू अ कंट्री, यूएफसी का इंडिया आना मतलब कि यहाँ पे काफी अच्छा स्ट्रॉन्ग बेस होना चाहिए इंडियन फाइटर्स का। जैसे आप देखें वो जब चाइना गए, तो चाइना में एंट्री से पहले ऑलरेडी कई सारे फाइटर्स चाइना में एमएमए काफी स्ट्रॉन्ग हो चुका था, और कई ऐसे फाइटर्स थे जो फॉरेन फाइटर्स के साथ फाइट करके जीत भी सकते थे। सो दैट इज व्हाई आप देख रहे हैं अभी कि चाइना में हर साल 1-2 तो होते ही है, और उस रीजन में भी होते हैं।
दिसंबर में फिर से चाइना जा रहा है यूएफसी टू शंघाई।
एंड अभी भी आप देख रहे हैं जैसे अबू धाबी में हो रहे हैं, वो इसलिए है क्योंकि आजू बाजू कंट्रीज में अभी काफी सारे अच्छे लेवल के फाइटर्स हैं जो अपने कॉम्पिटिटर्स को हरा सकते हैं, जैसे हमने 294 में भी देखा।
ये इंपॉर्टेंट बात है जानना कि कॉकेसस जो रीजन है वो मात्र 1.5 से 2 घंटे दूर है अबू धाबी से, तो एक ह्यूज अमाउंट ऑफ फाइटर्स जो है ऑलरेडी।
और हमने जो देखा यहाँ पे फाइटर्स तो है ही, प्लस ऑडियंस का भी आना बहुत आसान है। हमने जो देखा उस पूरे एरिया से काफी सारे लोग आए हुए थे, कजाकिस्तान से भी आए हुए थे, हर जगह से उस एरिया में फाइट्स देखने आए हुए थे लोग। सो ये इसलिए मेरे ख्याल से एक कंट्री में आने से पहले ये एक जरूरी है कि वहां की पब्लिक जो है वो आएगा लोकल फाइटर्स को सपोर्ट करने के लिए। तो जब तक एक स्ट्रॉन्ग बेस नहीं बनता एमएमए फाइटर्स का यहाँ पे जो फाइट कार्ड पे आ सकता है, चलो अगर 5 फाइटर हैं तो उसमें से 2 तो विंस होने चाहिए, अगर वो होगा तो जब तक वो नहीं लगेगा यूएफसी को, हमारे ख्याल से यूएफसी इंडिया नहीं आने वाला है। एंड अगर अभी देखा जाए अंशुल के फाइट को, ऑफ कोर्स सबने देखा उसको, उसका जो एनालिसिस है इतना करना भी वो जरूरी नहीं है क्योंकि सब देख चुके हैं, लेकिन हाँ अंशुल ने बहुत पहले 2 राउंड बहुत अच्छे खेले, ही गेव अ गुड अकाउंट ऑफ हिमसेल्फ। अनफॉर्चुनेटली थर्ड राउंड में ब्रीडन थोड़े से भारी पड़ गए उनके ऊपर, एंड आई डोंट नो इफ अंशुल वाज टायर्ड, ही विल नो बेटर, वी कैन ओनली स्पेकुलेट इफ ही वाज टायर्ड or Breeden's antics, and he was on point a couple of times, put Anshul on the back foot, but Anshul didn't look too comfortable in the third round, which eventually led to the KO. But he did give a very good account of himself in the first 2 rounds. I do feel, and ये मेरा personal opinion है जो मैंने अभिषेक को भी बताया सेरेमोनियल वेन्स देखने के बाद, जो हम दोनों वहां पे मौजूद थे लाइव, we will always support Indian MMA fighters, and of course it's a very good learning experience. I won't say very good, sorry, but a learning experience for Anshul, and we know he'll come back much stronger. He has to keep his feet on the ground, stay focused on the fight. थोड़ा सा सेरेमोनियल वेन्स में मुझे थोड़ा सा ओवर कॉन्फिडेंस लग रहा था वहां पे, जो कि मैंने अभिषेक को भी बोला, हमारे बीच में कॉन्वर्सेशन हुआ जो मैंने बोला कि ये इतना ओवर कॉन्फिडेंस होना अच्छा नहीं है, पहले फाइट से पहले थोड़ा सा और ग्राउंडेड और फोकस्ड और होने चाहिए थे. मैं ये नहीं कह रहा हूँ कि वो फोकस नहीं थे. I think he's trained very hard and I think he's a brilliant MMA fighter and one of our best best prospects from India. And अब देखिए जब कोई हारता है तो बहुत सारी चीजें निकल के आती हैं, कुछ भी बोल सकते हैं. जब जीतता है तो सब कुछ ठीक लगता है, जब हारते हैं तो जो जो सब कुछ किया वो अलग लगता है. तो हमारा बोलना आसान है, लेकिन आई थिंक अंशुल डिड पुट इन द वर्क. आई डू फील थोड़ा सा नेक्स्ट फाइट से पहले थोड़ा सा मीडिया और कम होना चाहिए. इस फाइट से पहले काफी मीडिया उन्होंने किया और मेरे ख्याल से उससे जो फाइटर है वो उनका थोड़ा सा मेंटल स्टेट थोड़ा सा अलग हो जाता है, क्योंकि वो बार बार जो पहले जो विक्ट्री थी उसी के बारे में बात कर रहे हैं. तो मेंटली कहीं ना कहीं आपको ऐसा लग रहा है कि मैं ऑलरेडी जीत चुका हूँ फाइट. प्लस जो ब्रीडन थे उनका रिकॉर्ड को इतना अच्छा नहीं था, वो यूएफसी में अभी तक जीते नहीं थे. सो बस यही बोलना चाहेंगे कि अंशुल के लिए ये ऑफ कोर्स लर्निंग एक्सपीरियंस था. पहले 2 राउंड में ही प्लेड वेरी वेल. Having said whatever, he played very well. Unfortunately, third round did not go his way, and he lost. But of course, we are fully supporting him, and I feel this is a learning experience for him. He's going to come back much stronger and focused for his next fight. And he's got a great coaching team behind him. He's got Siddharth from Cross Train and the Soma Fight Club. हम ये बात कर रहे थे, I think Siddharth of course is one of the very few jiu-jitsu coaches in India, and that too at a very high level. Very high level. So full kudos to Siddharth. I think he's doing a brilliant job. I feel maybe Soma Fight Club, he may want to change up, right? What do you have to say about that? Maybe change the Soma Fight Club camp.
I think maybe he should head over to Thailand. Bangtao is a very short distance flight away from here. 3-4 घंटे में वो पहुंच जाएगा. And वहाँ पे काफी हाई लेवल के फाइटर्स एक्चुअली में ट्रेन करते हैं. एलेक्स वोल्कानोव्स्की co-owns that gym. और जो कोचेस जो हैं काफी सारे UFC फाइटर आके वहाँ पे ट्रेन कर चुके हैं. तो मेरे ख्याल से that would be an idea. Of course, we cannot say कि वो किस चीज पे काम कर रहे हैं बाली में. But I think a change of camp may be necessary here.
I think Siddharth will be in a best position to guide him. And I think at the end of the day, Anshul खुद अपने फाइट को दोबारा देख के उसको assess करेगा, and he's going to relook at the fight and see where he has to improve in the fight game, whatever it is. Like I said, people like us can of course talk about it, but at the end of the day it's for him to put down and get that win, which is combat sports में ऐसा नहीं है कि उसने जितना काम करना था उतना नहीं किया. उन्होंने of course above and beyond.
I think he did very well. First two rounds he was easily up. Even if Anshul had done nothing in the third round, he would have very easily won the decision. But again, maybe there was lack of experience to be competing at such a high level, क्योंकि सबको पता है कि UFC is the pinnacle of mixed martial arts. और जब इतने bright light और ऊपर से इतना बड़ा fight card और not to say hostile territory somewhat, because हम देख रहे थे press conference पे क्या हो रहा था, lot of chants. So maybe the moment.
I think press conference में थे, लेकिन जो मैंने during the fight देखा ऐसा नहीं था कि उसके खिलाफ कुछ वो था. जो मेरे आजू बाजू कई जो बोले थे वो जुबली कर रहे थे काफी. हारने के बाद नहीं किया उन्होंने, but they were cheering the other guy. But I think during the fight ऐसा नहीं है. जो press conference में हुआ वो इसमें नहीं हुआ. मेरे ख्याल से जो लोग फ्री में प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस में आए थे हो सकता है उन्होंने टिकट ना खरीदे जिस भी वजह से.
I think Anshul showed that he belongs at that level clearly, and hopefully he fixes whatever the flaws there is and come back stronger.
See, and I don't even want to say पक्का की flaw है. Combat sports जो है, आपने बहुत सारा काम भी किया है, लेकिन कई बार ऐसा होता है कि the game can go anybody's way. It's more, I think, the in-game presence or situation assessment, whatever you want to call it again. I think he's got a great coach in Siddharth, and I think Siddharth is the best one to guide him, and it's a learning experience. And of course, we're going to look forward
And I
to
think
Siddharth to Anshul's next fight.
I think UFC would be wise to put him up in UFC Saudi Arabia next, which is only a couple of months away. 4-5 महीने में आ रहा है. So hopefully Anshul.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. He should be on UFC Saudi Arabia, because if you see, जो बोलते हैं ना कि अगर आप घोड़े से गिर जाते हो तो आपको एकदम से दोबारा चढ़ जाना चाहिए. बिकॉज अगर आप एकदम से नहीं चढ़ते तो फिर वो आपके दिमाग में प्ले करने लगता है, यार चढ़ूं नहीं चढ़ूं, क्या है, दोबारा हो जाए, so you have to get back immediately on the horse. So I think it's a great idea. I hope UFC gives him a fight on the UFC Saudi Arabia card. Who else is on that fight card?
It's not decided yet.
Okay.
But apparently it's going to be a big fight night card.
Yeah, so it's going to be a big fight night card. And having said that, I think, of course, everybody who's watching probably saw the fight and saw Khamzat win. And before that, the Johnny Walker episode was a little unfortunate.
Yeah.
Still unclear of what
apparently happened. The doctors asked him, "Where are you?"
Yeah, and he said, "I'm in the desert."
And he's not wrong.
He's not wrong.
Even Dana White said that.
The desert, he's technically
maybe there was a language barrier or something like that.
जो डॉक्टर था वो कहाँ का था? UAE का था या ये लेके आते?
He was from the UAE.
Yeah. तो हो सकता है कुछ language barrier हो गया हो. And athletes को unfortunate है कि कई बार ये जो ऐसे situations होते हैं उसमें एथलीट सफर करता है, लेकिन इट्स ऑल पार्ट ऑफ द गेम. बिकॉज जो हमने देखा, both Johnny Walker and what was the other guy's name?
Magomed Ankalaev.
Magomed Ankalaev wanted to continue, to fight. It was starting to turn out to be a really good, matchup.
I think Johnny Walker would be happy it all worked out in a way, because the fight was declared as a no contest.
Yeah.
Because initially the referee had waived off that fight. That means Johnny Walker was going to lose that match by TKO.
Achha.
But once Dana White came, situation resolved ho gaya. So I think it's for the best case, because eventually they will rematch at some point.
Hopefully maybe in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully back in the Saudi Arabia card. Now, again in the Usman Khamzat fight, I think Khamzat gave it his all in the first round. Couldn't put Usman down, though he tried. And he was amazing, to have a guy like Usman, on the back foot throughout the first round is not easy, because Usman's grappling is a very, very high level as well. But we've seen Khamzat can really turn on the heat. Then he kind of in the second round, what we heard, of course, was that he hurt his right hand, and so he wasn't going for the takedowns and wasn't really going for the kick.
I mean, it's not officially confirmed yet.
Yeah, but we heard. That's why I said, what we heard. And even though that's what he said comes up.
Yeah.
And the
because
third round.
Initially, I was expecting that to happen. Although I did not expect round one to be as dominant for Khamzat. But Usman was put in a really bad situation, and the way he handled himself was really impressive, because he never gave his neck to. He never put in the. But
so again, it was a majority decision.
ऐसा
नहीं है कि he won a one-sided fight, and we have to remember that Usman took this fight up, I think, just 11 days ago.
Yes, 11 days.
Because Paul Costa wasn't able to fight. Costa got into a fight in the audience with one of the audience members as well. जब वो screen पे आए तो everybody started booing him. So it was a very hostile crowd for him. और झगड़ा क्यों हुआ नहीं मालूम, किसी ने कुछ बोल दिया. वो I saw a guy jumping over trying to attack him, then he fought back and the guards came to do all of that.
I think if this would have been a 5-round fight, I think Khamzat would have been in great trouble.
Yeah, I think Khamzat would have been in trouble. Having said that, what was kind of controversial also about the post-fight, and we've read, I think Khamzat wants to fight Sean Strickland. Though I do feel the Costa fight should happen. Personal, he should fight Costa.
In fact, I also think that Kamaru Usman deserves a rematch. Given the circumstances.
I feel so too. I think Kamaru, probably there should be a rematch. Then Costa, and then Sean Strickland, whoever keeps winning.
In the meantime, we can have Sean Strickland versus Dricus du Plessis. I think Dricus du Plessis has shown that he deserves to be a title contender after knocking out Robert Whittaker. So I think that's the fight that should happen next. In the meantime, Paulo Costa, Kamaru Usman, and Khamzat Chimaev can.
Having said that, Khamzat is also starting to turn out to be a controversial figure, Kafi. because of his ties with Ramzan Kadyrov, right? The Chechen prime minister or president, was he? What is he? Prime minister, I think.
He's not exactly a prime minister, like he's the head of the region.
Yeah, people call him a warlord.
Yeah.
He's the head of the region, but आज मैं थोड़ा सा उसके ऊपर research भी कर रहा था. So I think he is also the president or prime minister.
Yeah, Chechen is the. His father was the head of the country.
Yeah.
Then he took over. Right now, Chechnya is an autonomous region in Russia.
Yeah. So without getting into the politics of it, but I think there are sanctions. There are a lot of sanctions on Ramzan and even his MMA Akhmat. MMA has been sanctioned by the US government and on Ramzan as well. And I think Khamzat has not been able to get a US visa. I don't know if it's because of that specific reason.
I think it's one of the reasons he shifted to UAE, that getting an Emirati passport might makes things easier for him to travel to the US.
Getting a Swedish passport would have been making it easier for him?
Could be. I'm not aware of the international visa laws, how they work. But I think one of the reasons for him was shifting to UAE was to get a Emirati passport.
I don't think it'll make it easier because अगर कोई एक बार आप इनके sites में आ गए US government के, so and I think him posting pictures with Ramzan and then the video of Ramzan welcoming him and taking him back on his private jet.
What's even more surprising is Ramzan Kadyrov's two sons were present in the ringside with him. Although there's no sanction on their son, I would assume it would not look good for him, and State Department won't look it very nicely.
Yeah, and but I guess Dana White runs a business, and the UFC in the Middle East is making is making a lot of money, so they got to take some decisions. उनको भी ऐसी decisions लेने जो उनके business के लिए ठीक है. But I think this is going to be kind of going to prove to be quite controversial, though ज़्यादा लोग इसके बारे में बात नहीं कर रहे हैं. कुछ कर रहे हैं, लेकिन he's putting it out on his social media himself.
Although I think he will eventually get a US passport or US visa, because ultimately it also UFC is a very powerful organization. I'm sure they will have their own lobbies behind to get.
They will have their own lobbies, but at the end of the day, it's complicated also. I think because he is क्या कहते हैं, saying stuff in the ring and everything. Also what he said, I think, in the ring, उसने अंग्रेजी में कुछ और बोला और थोड़ा सा मेरे ख्याल से बीच का रास्ता उसने अपनाया अंग्रेजी में, लेकिन रशियन में उसने जो बोला कि मैं लड़ना चाहता हूँ पैलेस्टीन में वगैरह वगैरह, उसमें हम डेप्थ में नहीं जाएंगे क्योंकि पॉलिटिक्स में अभी घुसने का कुछ वो मतलब नहीं होता, लेकिन I don't think that might make it easier for him to get a US visa. Because I'm sure people would have translated what he said. I mean, we've already read the translation, so they would have translated it. So anyways, I think he's still fighting for the UFC, whether he gets a visa to the US or not. But having said that, I think there's going to be a lot of controversy surrounding him going forward while he remains in the Ramzan
I think if Khamzat gets into the title contention, it will get very hard for UFC to not bring him stateside, because there are only so many pay-per-views outside of the US. Having said that, Singapore, Australia gets a pay-per-view, and Singapore and Abu Dhabi, there are just 3 pay-per-view outside of the United States, and he's already fought in one of them. And there's no plan for Australia or Singapore in the next couple of months. So if he does get a title shot,
maybe the Saudi Arabia card again.
I'm not sure if it's going to be a pay-per-view, but
okay.
Let's see.
Yeah. So anyways, now coming to the main fight, of course, Islam versus Volkanovski. I mean, again, everybody saw the fight. It was he set him up, with the kick first to the body, and then finally to the head. And Volkanovski did take this fight again, just 11 days before. So full credit to him. It was a great fight, but I think Islam right now seems unbeatable. Is Islam, who do you see Islam fighting now? Because his last 2 fights, of course, have been with Volkanovski.
I think it's going
to be much lighter and smaller guy.
I think it's going to be Charles Oliveira.
Charles Oliveira again. Yeah.
Although Justin Gaethje said that he wanted to fight him, but and he also said some nasty stuff about Oliveira. But we all know what happened when Oliveira fought Gaethje. It did not last that long. So I think eventually we will see Charles Oliveira and Islam Makhachev fight for the title.
Okay, well, that'll be interesting to watch.
It was actually quite sad seeing Alex Volkanovski in the post-fight press conference. He got a little emotional, and he also talked about his mental health situation, because he said that he wants UFC to continue giving him fights, because if he's not fighting, he gets in a really dark place. That's why it's one of the reasons that he took this fight, because he said that he was not liking the situation going into the end of the year, because he's also supposed to fight in January. He also said that Dana White should let him fight in January, because with a knockout like that, I'm sure there's concussion protocols in place for 40 days.
That he has to get doctor clearance.
And the way he got hurt, it looks like a little tough.
Yeah.
That he will be cleared early. So he was requesting in the post-fight press conference to let the fight in January continue.
Yeah. Well, that was the wrap up. One really interesting thing is post-fight. Alcohol is allowed for everybody in the stadium, even in a place like, of course, UAE. And there were a couple of fights happening outside the stadium, almost happening. Let's just say that, almost on the cusp of it. So. Not saying it just for anything, but I think it's an interesting part of sports in outside of India, because here I think alcohol is not allowed.
Not allowed inside sporting arenas.
Anywhere, but there it's pretty free flowing. So makes for an interesting post-fight arena. And I have to say that the Etihad Arena and the whole surrounding area, they did a fantastic job. The whole UFC fan experience, and inside the mall as well. And again, their production is top notch, and
and I hope they keep it that way, because ever since they made the deal with Fox, it was supposed to be that Fox was going to handle the production, but UFC never let go of their production, and right now they are where they are because
of course, because the production is amazing.
It's also interesting because they don't even let ESPN handle the production. They do it in-house, everything. So it just shows that they have raised the bar significantly.
And I think each and every department, it's all a well-oiled machine. And they've got something, of course, amazing going, which is why they're worth billions of dollars right now. And they've got such a huge fan base, including us. Always very, very enjoyable watching the UFC live, and hope to see the next one also. But before we sign off, again, all the best to Anshul Jubli, our Indian fighter. We always got your back. Always wish the best for you. And we know we'll see you back in the cage with a win very, very soon. Anything you want to say before signing off?
Keep supporting Anshul Jubli. He's our best shot at someone becoming a UFC champion. Although his debut didn't go as we expected, but he has signed a multi-fight contract. Hopefully, we'll see him soon.
Who else do you think from the Indian local scene the UFC should be picking up?
I think Angad Bhisht is the guy.
I was going to say the same thing.
Angad Bhisht is the guy
that
should be in the UFC's radar. I'm sure he already is, because if they have already signed another female fighter from
Pooja Tomar,
and if she's under the UFC radar, I'm pretty sure Angad Bhisht already is.
And I think there are some 3-4 more names. But
more names. I think they definitely need to look in the northeastern part of the country. Amazing talent coming out there. Hopefully we'll have someone from that region as well.
I think they've got some really good tough fighters as well. So hopefully we'll see some more signings from India in the UFC, and hopefully we'll see a win very, very, very soon. All right, so that's it from Praveen Dabas and Abhishek Singh, MMA India Show. Take care. Keep tuning in. Thank you. Cheers.